Hi, friends. GGinspire here with a money tip today. It's really more of a 3 ways that you're losing money and you might not realize it. How many of you feel like, especially with holiday time, that there's too much month at the end of the money? It happens, right? I think Jim Rohn said that. So here's the thing. All we know is what we've been told and what we've learned along the way. So if we don't educate ourselves, then we're missing some things. But has it ever happened to you where you feel like you just all of a sudden money just disappears out of your account? You thought you had more and it's not there anymore? It happens to a lot of people. So I wanted to give you guys a couple of tips because it's happened to me. I remember over the years as we were kind of coming up, we would be doing okay. We'd be saving. We'd feel like we'd have enough. And then all of a sudden, boom, we'd get this charge and we didn't know where it came from. I heard a statistic long ago, and I don't have the exact numbers, but it was somewhere around billions and billions and billions of dollars that people are charged in overdraft fees. Now, that may not be you, and that's okay. But here's the thing. No matter how much money you have, whether you have $10 or you have 10 million, you have to know where your money is going. So the smartest people about money know what they're doing with it every single month and every single year. So either that or they hire people. Here's the thing about that. When they hire people to take care of their money, they still have to have a good idea of what's going on. It is not a good time to be in a place where you're not really that educated. Somebody else handles it. You don't really know what they're doing because what if they make a mistake? What if you don't really know what's happening and they're taking more money from you than you think? It happens all the time. So a couple things. Number one, auto orders, auto ship, monthlies. I've had that experience where I see an ad online and I sign up for something and it looks super cheap. And then you don't read the fine print at the bottom and it ends up being a lot more expensive. Like they give you this introductory cost and it's a lot cheaper. And then when the monthly renews, it renews at a much higher price or it renews annually. That's happened to me a couple times. That's kind of a bummer. But here's the thing. Be aware of those things. Go through your account, take a look at your account and look at all your charges for a month, maybe 2 months, just to make sure that you know exactly what's coming out of your account on a monthly basis. So there's no surprises. You need to be in full control of your money and know what's coming in versus what's going out. I had a lady about a couple of years ago who told me every single morning when I wake up, I check my account balance. It's just a habit that I've gotten into. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. But it's a good thing to do because then you know exactly where you stand. Number two, minimum payments on credit cards. Okay. If you have credit cards, which I'm sure some of you don't, but don't get into the habit of paying the absolute minimum on that card. Okay. First of all, number one, don't have credit cards. Pay everything in cash. That's my first piece of advice. But second, if you're going to carry a balance on your credit cards and you're trying to pay down your debt, don't pay the minimum on everything, right? Pick one card. Here's my advice. Pick one card that you're going to be able to pay down and add extra to that. And then pay the minimum on everything else. And then you can they call it snowball or debt stack or whatever you want to call it. But paying the minimum on your credit cards, all of them, just to make sure that you can get by is not smart. Eventually, you want to get out of debt because at the end of the day, they are charging you a ton in interest. And so that $50 shirt that you bought is going to end up being several $100s the longer that you leave it on that card and interest is accruing. So pay extra on one specific card while you're trying to pay it down and then transfer that money to the next card and you'll be faster out of debt. That's number two. Number three, and this is a bigger one, and I could do a whole talk for probably several hours on this, but inflation is number one. Now, if you are saving your money and you're not getting a decent rate of return, now by decent, I mean more than the bank. I mean somewhere between 3 to 5%, you're losing money. Okay, inflation in our country, and it may be higher in some areas, but inflation is somewhere around 3 to 5%. So that means that loaf of bread that you bought last year that cost you $1 is now going to cost you between $1.03 and $1.05. Now, inflation is actually a lot higher with what we've seen. If you guys actually look at the statistics, it's much, much higher now. However, you need to make sure that the money that you have sitting in the bank is making some interest on it. Because if it's not making interest, then you're losing money. Your purchasing power, your buying power is losing money. Okay. You don't want to be in that position where your money ends up buying you less. Okay. And that's what happens when, I was joking with my husband a year ago, I could fill my cart and it was like $100, maybe $125. Now I fill the cart at the grocery store and it's $200. So I don't know, we were just buying more, but I know for sure things are more expensive. And then the last one is taxes. If you're growing your money, you have to be aware of how it's going to be taxed later. Okay. Is it going to be taxed right now, year to year? Or is it going to be taxed in the future? Is it never going to be taxed? Here's the thing. You have to start asking yourself these questions. Otherwise, we're at a disadvantage. People who have money know where their money is going. They know what they're paying on for interest and what have you. And they also know how it's growing. They also know what it's going to be taxed, all of those things. This is super, super important. We want a more educated society. We want to make sure that we understand our money better and we have a better life for our families. You have to educate yourselves. Nobody's going out there. One of the biggest reasons why I got into business was I realized I had a master's degree. I was in process to getting a master's degree and I knew very little about money. So I could venture to say that most people out there know very little about money as well. Educate yourself, take those steps and make sure that you can put yourself in a better situation. If you have questions, reach out to me. I'm not going to charge you to sit down and have a conversation. I just want to make sure that you get the education. We deserve it and we have to go after it and be hungry for it. Be inspired, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great life. Bye-bye.